Hello? Is this thing on? Welcome on in, guys. Happy American Truck Sim. How you doing? Okay, that map. Okay, I was like, that map is still not very helpful, but we'll go this way and hope for the best. Welcome on in. I hope you're doing well. Okay, I found the way out. We simply vibing today. We are on a trip. If you didn't know, my current goal in ATS is to unlock as many cities as I can. Hopefully, eventually all of them. I should probably slow down before I like crash before I even get out of here. But my current goal, or this current trip should, because like sometimes I think I'm gonna unlock things and I don't, but it should unlock 2 cities on our route, which is fantastic. We are going from Albuquerque to Garden City, and we have packaged food. I can't. Oh shoot, I can't see. I gotta. That's not what I meant to press. I accidentally went backwards. I wish I could drive first person, but I would get so motion sick that it would not be a good time. Oh my goodness. I think I talked about it recently, but we'll just, gloss over it real quick. I had a dev come into my channel while I was streaming and say, hey, do you want to check out my game? I was like, yeah, they're like, another streamer sent me over. I'm like, oh, that's so kind of them to think about me, because like I do play a lot of demos and stuff. I'm like, yeah, for sure. I was currently playing something, so I was like, oh, not right now, but like in the future I'll check it out. And then they also sent me an email about it. They were a little pushy about it on stream, and I was like, and like I'm somebody that if you like tell me to do something, I'm a not. But anyways, I was like, great, that's fantastic, I will take a look at it. But it was a game where I was like, oh, it's first person. I do fear that I would get motion sick. And they're like, oh, there's no movement in this game, so you'd be fine. You don't walk around in this game, but there is body movement, like looking around and stuff a lot. I got so motion sick. I think I lasted like 8 minutes. And I had to stop playing. I like did like one in-game day and I had to stop, which is not typical for me, because like normally I can push through it. Except for Tales of the Shire. Oh my, I don't understand how I got so motion sick from Tales of the Shire, because that was like a third person game. I don't know what it was, but I got so motion sick. I was so devastated by that game. The motion sickness, obviously the highest part of it, but just I really don't think they executed it well. And like I've talked about before, I don't know if it's here or elsewhere, because I've, we've covered it a lot. But if they had done it properly, then they could have had like a cozy Hobbit game, a cozy elf game, a cozy dwarf game, a cozy game set in Minas Tirith. Like the things that they could have done, like just set it up on like the outside of, after like there's war or something, it's like, hey, rebuild this area. You can even have like a sad one about Lothlorien. Like there's so much that they could have done. But it just felt so fetch questy. And then again, the motion sickness was like, it got to the point where I couldn't even think because I felt so sick. I actually vomited. I was like, guys, I need to take a little bit of a break, and we'll get back into this. And then I puked a bunch. I had a bucket I went to the bathroom. I think I puked a bunch. I brought a bucket with me and I puked a bunch more. So it was great. Love that. So anyway, so that's why we don't play. That's why we don't play Tales of the Shire, and we're sad about. But yeah, like I can usually play first-person games for a bit. I have motion sickness glasses, like the ones that you would wear if you get motion sick in the car. And those help, definitely to an extent. I don't think they would here, and I don't want to like risk that feeling really sick. And so that's why I always drive not first-person. And everybody's like, oh, it's such a better experience inside of the car. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure it is. But like, it wouldn't be a better experience if I'm getting sick, because even with the motion sickness glasses, eventually I do start to feel gross. But anyways, we tangented it so hard there. How you doing? Franklin's doing great. Franklin hasn't made an appearance for a while. But today was a busy day. It was an off typical day. Azurite's work is like going through like flux and transition, so they need like extra. They need people to like cover extra shifts, and so he's like, well, you know what? Why not? And so he's in today on a day that he wouldn't normally be in. And so it was, and like his mom is here too, so like she could help me with the littles, but they were good. They were so good. And then all of a sudden they decided to be absolute terrors to each other. I let them stay up a little bit later to play Stardew because we just got them into Stardew. And I was like, you know what, if you guys promise to be good and not be butts when it's bedtime and like when you go to sleep, we can play, you guys can stay up a little bit later. And they were pretty good. They didn't fight me too bad. And then, it's like it's me. Just crashing into people. And then all of a sudden they just became absolute terrors. And so now they've lost their Switch, aka Stardew privileges for tomorrow. Although I did say to Azurite, like if we have like a good conversation with them tomorrow, like I could be open to letting them play with us, because we have a family Stardew farm that we just started. We went into Walmart yesterday and we bought like 3 digital codes because it's just easier to do the digital code like when doing like theirs and stuff. And so we bought the 3 digital codes, and I'm sure how do we get past this? It's fine. And I'm sure the person that worked there was like, what the heck? It was actually really funny. So we were talking to the girls, and we were like, okay, we've bought you Switch games in the past, and you guys have played them like twice, and then you're like, meh, and you never picked them up again. Is that going to be the case with Stardew Valley? Because like we don't want to buy you these games and say, hey, let's play together, and you play them once and then you don't want to play with us. So I was like, how about this? If we ask you to play, you don't play, and we ask you to play and you never want to play with us, you guys can pay us back for this game, because like Stardew's only like $15 on the Switch. And they're like, what if we don't have money? And we're like, oh, you could be working for your allowance and you could be giving it right back to us, which I think is like, I think that's reasonable, right? Because then it gives them like, okay, this is a value, and I said I want to play it, but if I don't play it, then I have to pay for it. So I think that's good. And they have both been loving it so far. They each have their own farm. We have a family farm. And then today I set them up or Azurite set them up, and I helped after he left for work. I'd helped them connect. So they have a farm, just the 2 of them. So that's what they were doing, and they were doing so great. And then I don't know, it led to them just being terrors to each other. One of them likes to make noise to annoy her sister. They share a room. They're twins. They share a room. One of them likes to make noise to annoy her sister, and she will ask her to stop, and she won't stop. And then the other one yells, and then the other one continues to make noise. And like, I went in and I was like, okay, yelling is not okay. All right. Not acceptable. This is not how we resolve our conflicts. You asked her once and she didn't stop, and when she did it the second time, you didn't need to yell. You could have asked her again. We don't need to escalate to this right away, you know. And then to the other one, I was like, you were making noise, your sister asked you to stop, and you made noise again, and that's why she yelled at you. She's like, well, I was gonna stop after the first time. I'm like, but you didn't. She's like, but I was going to. I'm like, but you didn't. Like, I think like we're at the point where we need to, there's 2 things that I think we need to do, like accountability, because one of them will do something, get in trouble for it, and then say, or hurt somebody or something by accident, and then say, I didn't mean to do the thing. Not I didn't mean to hurt this person. It's an I didn't mean to do this thing. And so it's like, well, no, you need to start taking accountability for your actions. It's okay if it was an accident, but like earlier today, Azure and I were like horsing around, and the other one of them punched me really hard in the back, like in my shoulder, and I was in pain for like hours. She's in karate, like she's a weapon. We've talked to her about she can't hit people. And I was in pain for hours because I think she hit me right on the bone or right on a nerve or something. And I said, ow, and she immediately went, I didn't mean to. Like, no, honey, you made the conscious decision to punch me. And so like and then something else happened tonight that I'm like, she's like, this. I'm like, no, you meant to do that. You made the conscious decision to do that. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, and you need to take responsibility and accountability for that you did it. You made a terrible choice. Absolutely. And so I think they're at that age where like their intentions and their actions, they need to start kind of lining them up together. You know, like I meant to stop, or I was going to stop, X. Yeah, but you didn't. And that makes a difference. And like, it's like if I told you I was going to give you $50 and then I didn't and you got mad, I said, well, I was going to give it to you. You know? And so I think we're going to have a nice conversation about responsibility, accountability, and privilege, because I gave them the privilege to stay up late, and we made a contract, you know, a verbal contract saying you guys are gonna be good, and if you don't, you're gonna lose your Switch tomorrow. And guess what? So that was fun. I love dealing with that. I do find like, oh god, we gotta slow down because we're gonna hit that guy. I do find sometimes some people appear, some people come into their lives and those people just deregulate them a bit. Oh shoot, okay, bro. And oh my god. You know what? Fine. Oh, I see what's happening. And they get dereg. Oh my freaking god. Did you hit me? Is that what happened? Yeah, he's hit me. And so sometimes we do see them acting up. I need to go inside. We do see them acting up sometimes as a result of that. I don't even care if I hit him. And so, and yes, I was in the wrong there 100%. I'm taking accountability. And so sometimes like that causes issues. And that was the case today. Plus, like, you know, they had extracurriculars today and they're always kind of like a little bit more exhausted. I think they were overtired. This, Tucumcari. Oh, hey, we've discovered 10. Wait, does that mean we found everything in New Mexico? Because I think the last trip we got 9 in New Mexico. You know, whatever. I'm just going to go. Give me the fine. I've got almost... Hey, you didn't give me a fine. I've got almost 600K. I can take a $700 fine. I worked hard to be able to take fines. Oh my god. Am I the problem? You know how... Okay, so like... Man, the tangents. You know how... if like a rich person gets a fine for speeding, let's say like $200, for them that's nothing. But if someone who is, you know, less wealthy gets that fine, $200 could mean they're not eating, right? And so like I know there's some places in like Europe that do proportional tickets. Oh my god, the road is so bad here. Never mind, I was just driving off the side of it. Where if you get a speeding ticket, it's going to be 1% of your income or whatever for that period, which I think makes sense, because if you're rich enough, rules are just inconveniences that you have to pay away, right? And I've become that problem. I'm like, $700 ain't no thing. You know, drive into a car because it's in my way, take the $900 fine. I'm the problem. I have truly become the problem. We need some proportional... No, I don't know. I'd be so poor. It would not be a good time. But yeah, so, oh, anyways, I think it's a really good idea for, like, traffic violations and stuff to do proportional, fines, because, again, like, if somebody drunk drives and they make, like, $100,000 a month, $200 fine ain't gonna do nothing to them. And the thing too is, like, if someone who's rich drunk drives, like, obviously they have resources, they can hire good lawyers, be like, you need to prove it. Oh, we're getting a ticket. I don't know how I didn't get a ticket there. Maybe because I got off the road far enough, because that was a cop and it would have been a big ticket, speaking of. And even if say they get a DUI and say their lawyer can't get them off, even like they could hire someone to drive them. Or if they have to fit in like a breathalyzer, like they have those resources. So anyways, just me on my, I feel like 2 videos ago I was on my like social services, what's right, etc. thing. I talked about it recently. So we'll go back a bit. I am Canadian, obviously, so my values are very aligned with what I grew up with in terms of like healthcare and social services and all that kind of stuff, and what I at my core believe to be right. Okay, which includes, hey, we're in Texas, which includes taking care of all your population. regardless of whether I like, I have a leaf on my microphone. It's just making weird, it's moving and it's freaking me out. Regardless of whether they make enough money to go bankrupt getting healthcare. Anyways, whatever. I digress. I think it's important to take care of people. When I was in university, I got into the social studies, school of social studies or whatever, and I was like, shoot, like, what am I going to take in this field? And I found political sciences, and I was like, well, you know, that's interesting. And I didn't know what I want to be when I quote unquote grew up. And so I was like, oh, I guess I could become, oh shoot, I don't know how. Oh, I like the cops in Texas. He didn't give me a ticket either. I was like, I guess I could become a politician. And so I took a bunch of classes in political sciences. I worked on some political campaigns during federal elections, etc. I've also since worked for Elections Canada, for elections, I think definitely federal. I can't remember if I did any provincial ones. And so I did a lot of politics stuff. And so I joked to Azurite, I was like, maybe I'll become like the governor of Oregon eventually. And like, it's a wild thing too, but like, I don't, and like, I would obviously have to like, get a job here in the States first. Oh, excuse you? Now you guys decide to give me a ticket? I'm offended. I wasn't even going that far over either. And so I'm like, I wonder, like, what would it entail? What would I have to do between now and then? Because, like, truly, I just, like, there's, like, that whole thing, like, about, like, seeking power. What is it? Those who, like, those who seek power aren't, the best to have power because, like, they want the power, and so it's better to have like people who are thrust into positions of power. There's a quote, and I'm pretty sure it's a William Shakespeare quote, but I can only remember it from the beginning of the Lizzie McGuire movie. And I can't obviously remember the whole thing right now, but I'm like, would it be so crazy to to get into politics in a foreign country? Because like here, do I think I would ever get voted in? God no. God no. I'm Canadian. They'd be like, dang, socialist. Which is like absolutely wild. Oh my goodness. Okay, so like I'm recording this just a couple days after, I think it was midterm elections. I still don't really understand American politics. I should probably figure that one out. But there was a bunch of elections, including the mayor of New York. And Mom Donnie won. And I saw this TikTok, and I guess he was riding his bike, or he was getting on or off his bike or something, and someone called him a communist, and he goes, it's pronounced cyclist. And did it actually happen? I don't know. He feels like he would have the vibes. The man had a rap video, and he had a song on the soundtrack of Queen of Catway. What the heck? But anyways, I just thought that was really funny. He seems like a funny guy. But yeah, so I think like I'm just thinking a lot about politics right now. Okay. Oops. If they can't... Oh. I don't know how I didn't get a ticket there. But if the cops can't see you because they're trying to fight for their life to stay alive, they can't write you a ticket. Good advice in ATS. Do not do it IRL. Okay, guys? It'll be bad. It'll be bad. I thought that was a cop on the side there. Thought I was going to get a ticket. But yeah, I think definitely like... So I have a minor in Indigenous studies, and one of the things that I realized is I know a lot about Canadian Indigenous peoples and like Maori and Aboriginal and like in other places in the world, but we didn't study too much American Indigenous peoples. And so that's one thing that I'm like trying to get better at, like the local area. Like I do know what nation we're on the land of. Ooh, am I gonna have enough gas? Hey, we found Gaiman! Oops, we are not even on the right side of the road. I was too busy excited about that, because when I saw that it was one of the places where you get, I was like, hey, it's like Pokemon. And so I'm just trying to like it's just so complicated. Like, I did political sciences, and so like I learned about the electoral college and stuff, but I find American politics just overly complicated. Um, and, and like convoluted for so many reasons. For so many reasons. But like the electoral college alone is just like wild. And yeah, I do like the political system in many, many countries, including Canada, where you vote for a party and then the party leader becomes the country's leader, prime minister in Canada. Because you are not voting for someone specific, you are voting for the ideals of the party, and then just like, it's just their leader that becomes that. And there's also like right now we're in the middle of a government shutdown. I'm pretty sure it's still going. Oh no. Oh no, that was $5,000. See, that's that proportional taxation or fines. That sucked. That was like 10%. No, never mind, that'd be 50. That was like 1% of what I have. Anyway, and like it's baffling to me that a government can just shut down. In Canada, there are a few votes that go to the House that are called no confidence votes. And so if that particular vote does not pass, and one of them in particular is the budget, if the budget cannot be passed, it is called a vote of no confidence. And then the government or the current prime minister has to go to the lieutenant governor, who is a representative of the Queen, but like mostly just a ceremonial role, and say, hey, I cannot form government. I need to dissolve. Can you please dissolve the government? And then they have another election. None of this, we're just gonna not let people eat food and we're going to make people work without paying them. None of that crap. It just, the government's doing it wrong. Okay, we need a new government. And like, that's why it's so important. So I'm just getting a political lesson. I don't know how long I'll have for this. In Canada, there can be a majority government or a minority government. And a majority means that the ruling party has enough members of parliament that it doesn't matter pretty much what they want to pass, they can pass it. However, oftentimes that government does not get enough in order to do that and form government, because they have to have a majority. So they will form a coalition government with other parties. So for example, I don't know exactly what the makeup is right now. Liberals don't have a majority, but they do have a coalition government. I want to say with the NDP and the Greens, but I'm not sure. Again, I'm not living there, so I don't know exactly. And I don't think they have a majority. But so that's what will happen. So then you've got the Liberals and you got the NDPs, who are like kind of like the Workers' Party, and they have Green, which is environmental. And so when the Liberals say, hey, we want to do this, and the NDP will be like, cool, I like that idea. However, in order for us to vote for you, I also think that this is an important thing that we add to it. And like, there you go. You get collaboration, you get multiple parties, working together for the betterment, for the best running of the country. And I think that's so important. And yes, like obviously sometimes there's majority governments and you're like, oh, I'm not loving this, but also there's term limits. They have to, actually, I don't know if I was looking up recently at prime ministers, and there have been so many prime ministers back in the day that like were prime ministers for like 15 years and plus. Oh shoot, don't give me a ticket. I was just going one over. But like, it's every 4 years, or when the government decides to call an election, because that can happen too. The government can be like, hey, we don't have a majority, we have a minority, but the political climate's looking pretty good for us. Everybody's hating, say it's Liberals, everybody's hating the Conservatives. Maybe if we do an election now, we'll get more seats in the House. So you like, oh God, don't give me a ticket. No, you're fine. You're giving that guy a ticket. So you never really know. And, I think that makes them more exciting. I think they have to have a minimum of 30 days. So like, if they dissolved government and said election, you have to have at least 30 days, and that's called a snap election. And so like, it's wild to me too that like basically like people campaign. And oh yeah, we did discover that Center City. People in the States, like, they campaign, they win, and then they almost immediately start campaigning for 4 years later. I'm like, what? So it's just like, there's just so many differences. And I just think that there's, and then, like, you know, you throw in like super PACs and stuff, which is like a whole nother thing. But yeah, it's just, there could be, in Canada, they've talked about reform and stuff in like the way they vote, because in Canada it's first past the post, which is as soon as someone gets whoever gets the most amount, they're elected in, whereas some other places they talked about having like a proportional or single transferable vote. Oh no. A single transferable vote. So instead of just voting for one person, you would vote number 1 as your top pick, and then once that person got enough votes to be elected in, then, you know, the weight would go to the next one, etc. It's very complicated and convoluted. But, you know, there's different ways to make sure that your vote is heard. And, like, I know so many people are like, one vote doesn't matter. But, like, honestly, at the end of the day, one vote does matter. Specifically in Canada, the last election that there was, so many ridings, which are like the voting districts. Let's see if we can do this. So many ridings came within 100 votes or less. And, you know, like, that's why it's so important to get out and vote. I'm very passionate about this. I have voted in every election I have been eligible to vote for because I think it's important. I don't think we're getting... Oh, we got in here. Let's freaking go. Anyway, so there's politics with Franklin and my thoughts and things and stuff. Would you vote for me if I ran for governor, if you could? Or for office in general? I don't know. Oh, 600 damage. That's okay. We'll take that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe because we go on random tangents all the time. And it's a good time. It's good vibes. If you ever want to give me a topic that you think I might be able to ramble on about, throw it in the comments and I will try to remember the next time I record. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.